Hello everyone, I'm Desiree Acorba from grade 11 Humes A. I am assigned to discuss to you the various modes of fiction. We will be having an understanding of fiction as a genre, and at the same time will analyze its elements and techniques. We will be identifying the various elements, techniques, and literary devices in various modes of fiction. But before we proceed, let's look back to our previous lesson. Do you still remember? It's about the elements of a narrative. Can you give some elements of a narrative? Yes, the character, the plot, also the setting and the theme. Don't forget the style, the form, the genre, also the narration, related, and the tense. Now let's have a brief introduction of our topic. Do you have any idea how to write a short story? Here's the complete guide that will help you write a short story. So there are 9 steps in writing a short story. So first, we should start with an idea. In writing a story, we should have an idea. You can get inspiration from real-life events, whether they happen to you, to a grandparent who told you a story, or even the combination of little tidbits you hear from here and there. Next one, you should pick a point of view. You should decide whose eyes the story will be told through. Are you writing in first person? Then you should use the pronoun I. If it's the third person, you should use the pronoun he or she. Remember, you cannot switch halfway through the story. Once you pick a point of view, you have to stick with it. A good rule of thumb for beginner writers is to use the protagonist. The next one, learn about your character. Your job as a writer is to develop a living, breathing character, and the only way to do that is to make sure you know more about your characters than what you ever let your reader know. Next, you should avoid character cliches. Don't outright explain your character's appearance or personality, etc. Let readers discover this character on their own as they read. Also, don't forget to give your character some weaknesses. Of course, perfect people doesn't exist, you know. If you must have an outright description of a character, make it seem natural. Like, you can have the character describe him or herself to another character. Don't forget to give your character a conflict. Make sure to have something at stake, like, what happens if the character doesn't get what they want? It should be something that ruins them. If there is nothing at stake in your story, you need to raise the stakes. Next, show, don't tell. This is where the foreshadowing applies. You should not tell exactly, or you should not tell it that easily what is the plot of your story. Instead, you should give the reader some clues. It will make your story more interesting. Advance the action or plot. The plot of your story should always take an unexpected turn, whether at the beginning or the end. Next, draft. Once you have a good idea of the story, a point of view, deep characters, and the idea of showing and not telling in your head, you must simply write. Lastly, a final crucial trick. When you write a story, don't save any of your ideas for later. Remember that giving your all on every book is important because this book may be the only book that someone reads by you. What imprint do you want to leave in their mind? Furthermore, all writing falls into a category or a genre. Below are examples of 5 main genres and their 15 subgenres. So what are the 5 main genres? The first one is fiction. This is an imaginative or made-up writing. The second one, a drama. This is a play or a script. Third, the nonfiction, something, a piece of writing that is true. Fourth, the folklore, stories once passed down orally. Lastly, the poetry, writing concerned with the beauty of language. Now, what are the subgenres? Here are the fictional subgenres. First one, the historical fiction. It is set in the past and based on real people and events. Next to it is the science fiction. It has aliens, robots, or anything related to technology, while realistic fiction has no elements of fantasy. Lastly, fantasy has monsters, magic or characters with superpowers, etc. Next, under folklore subgenres, there are fairy tales, legends, tall tales, myth, and fables. Now let us proceed to the three main poetic forms. The first one is lyrical. It is an emotional writing focusing on thought and emotion. The second one is a narrative. It tells a story. It includes a subdivision epic or a long story which tells the heroic ideals of a particular society. Last one is dramatic. It is any drama written in verse which is meant to be spoken. And that is the end of my presentation. I hope you learned something. Thank you.